everybody, welcome. I'm Robert Maxfield. I'm a concert and music photographer in Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas, and we're getting ready for the world's oldest and largest guitar show. It's massive. It's 180,000 square feet. There's 50 to 60 artists that are going to perform. It's amazing, and I'm going to show you in this video how we get prepared for this 3-day event. Hey, welcome to Max Concert Photography, where we talk everything concert photography related and occasionally a little bit of regular photography too. But in this case, this week's installment, we're going to tell you a little bit about the world's largest and oldest guitar festival. It's monstrous. There's 180,000 square feet right close to downtown Dallas that's going to be taken over for 3 days. And we're going to show you the preparation we do before we get to the show and a little bit about the show too. A lot of things have to happen before we get to this guitar festival, and most concert photographers, music photographers think the first thing is we're just going to take pictures. No, that's not what happens. This show is not only about taking pictures of the artist and the sales floor and what happens throughout the whole entire show. It's about marketing. And in this case, we're going to be manning a booth for a major magazine, but the magazine was gracious enough to give us an ad, a pretty good size ad in that magazine, and allow us to market ourselves. So in this case, we're going to talk about marketing yourself as a music and concert photographer and what all is involved in it. The first thing we did is we had to get the ad created, and we went through and did all the photographs, the text, and prepped it all up. And most of that stuff I did in Adobe Express, to be honest. I have a paid edition of Adobe Express. It's easy, it's quick, and it worked pretty well, and that's what I used for that. So it's pretty simple. But once we got all that figured out and got that ready for the paste up for the magazine, we had to go through and figure out, hey, we're going to be at this show, and our ad's going to be in there. What are we going to do to promote ourselves? Well, the obvious thing is, first of all, you got to have business cards. Okay? And not just any old business card. You just don't want the white business card that says Joe so-and-so, concert or music photographer, blah, 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 blah. You want to have something that says or states what you do. Thus, this is my business card. And the problem that you're going to have with that is not everywhere is going to be able to produce that. And the first thing Julie said to me, she says, well, why don't you go out and get them on Amazon? They're only about $10 for 200. Well, that sounds like a pretty good idea, except the ones on Amazon are limited as to what you can put on them and a lot of the design, and they won't use certain graphics. So that becomes a problem. So what I did is I went into Copilot in ChatGPT and I said, hey, I want to produce a business card using this image and this text. And it went out and it produced this business card. So it used my old business card as a guideline. Instead of being portrait, it turned it to landscape, modernized it, cleaned it up, and added my new information. And then, as far as printing it, you're not going to believe what I did. So just about every service that does business cards wants to take 2 weeks or whatever. And then they also want you to buy this, that, and the other. And when you use them online, you just can't get a template that's going to print what you have. You can go out to Avery and go whatever the 5513, whatever their template is, and then they want you to print and pay them to print it. Well, okay, I only need probably 30 business cards, and you're not going to get 20, 30 business cards. So I went back into ChatGPT and Copilot, and I said, produce me 10 business cards on a sheet that are 3.5 inches by 2. And boom, guess what? I got a sheet of business cards. I took my paper trimmer and I trimmed them up, and now they're the correct and right size, and they're custom done. And if I made a mistake or if I had to make a change, I can do it, and I can do it quickly without worrying about going through the same process every stinking time of having to wait 2 weeks or pay $22.95 or $30 to get 200 business cards, and I'm going to have 200 business cards I'm not going to want to have or use. So Copilot and ChatGPT will do this kind of work. You just have to be careful, because if you've got the free version of ChatGPT, it only gives you so many attempts at making your business card and getting it refined before it goes, hey, you got to wait another 24 hours to do it. But this is what it produces, and this is the very first thing. And oh, by the way, if you want to know how I printed those up, I use Red River printing paper, photographic paper. You can get it, Red River photographic paper, redriverpaper.com. It's pretty common stuff, at least in our area it is, and I know they do it nationwide in the U.S. I printed the business cards on the photo paper that I got from them, and it's called 68-pound Ultra Pro Satin 4.0 8.5 by 11 sheets. So it's the same size as a regular piece of printing paper, and just like you're going to print it on notebook paper, except it's photographic paper, so it's satin and it looks really nice. And I printed it out on my Canon Pro 100 photographic printer that's sitting right back there behind me, and I can print as many as I want, whenever I want, and it's easy. Now that we got the ad and our business cards out of the way, we have someone we want to say thank you to when we get to the guitar festival. So I printed a 13 by 19 photograph of them on that same Canon printer, and I put it in a good looking frame. And when I get there, I'm going to give it to them, and I'm going to say thank you. So that's out of the way. The next thing we're doing is we're getting our paper portfolio together. And I know you want, hey, Bob, it's the 21st century. People don't use paper anymore. Well, until you manage quantum physics and you learn to understand phase shifting, you can't physically be 2 places at once, and that's a problem. So while I'm away off shooting the guitar festival, and while I'm out shooting the artist, I need to have some of my work there visible so people at the booth can look at my stuff. Can't be 2 places at once. So we're going through our paper portfolio, and one of the things I've added this year in the paper portfolio is actual photographic copies that I've made of the cover shots in which I've had for the magazine. So I've got a half a dozen of those. I'm putting my best photo work in them so people can see them. And there's a couple reasons for that. One, they may want them to be shot for the magazine, and the magazine may want to do it. Or it is possible that somebody will come out and say, hey, we want to hire you to do our photographic work for our EPK or whatever that we want to produce. We want flyers, things like that. And they have to be able to see what your work looks like in print, as well as what your work normally looks like. So we're in the process right now of printing out a ton of photographs for examples and going through them and finding our best. And that's going to be in the booth while I'm not there. You know, if it's not one thing, it's another. I just got through, while I was recording the video, with about an hour, hour and a half worth of pre-event conference call, and we were discussing various things like I need business cards from the magazine. I want to know apparel that I need to wear. I have one shirt. It's a 3-day event, so I need to have, some shirts for that, and made arrangements for that. If I don't have a shirt or anything like that that I can use, what can I wear? What kind of I've got these type shirts, which I'm going to make. I've got some black ones that I'm going to make new ones with the information on the back and on the front. So those kind of things I'm going to make, and we're in the process. We're about a little over a month out, and this is probably the largest event we do all year, and we're going to have to make monstrous amounts of preparation for it. One of the things I do is I take and I print out several copies of the itinerary, and at this time I printed one out. This is the list of all the artists that are going to be performing Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So this gives me an idea exactly where I need to be and who I need to see, and gives me time to make arrangements to be at those locations. And it gives me people that I absolutely want to see. I can look at them and say, I've seen these people before. I can determine how much time I want to spend with the people that I've already seen before. If there's going to be nothing exciting or different with them, it lets me see the new people that I haven't seen. I'm looking at the list for Allie Venable's going to be there this time. She hadn't been there in a couple times. There's going to be, there's 3 stages that are going on at the same time, and Frank Hannon from Tesla is going to be there again. Derek St. Holmes from Ted Nugent is going to be there. There's Vernon Reid for Living Color is going to be there. I think that's what it is. I've not seen Vernon Reid before, and I'm kind of looking forward to that. There's some people that I always like to see because I always like to see them. Rockin' Robert T. and his band is going to be there. Rocky Athis and his band is going to be there. Jackie Don Lowe, Larry Mitchell, a lot of people that I've seen a lot of times. The Fabulous Freak Brothers. They're ones that I look forward to every time I go to see them. And but there's 6, 11. The first day there's 16. There's 15. The second day there's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's probably 25, 30 on the next day. So it's going to take me a little time to go through the itinerary, figure out who I want to see, when I want to see them, and where I want to spend most of my time. Another thing is, it's not just shooting musical acts or bands, artists. You have to shoot some of the things going on the sales floor, and be sure that you get that information in those photos too. So there's different booths with everything from guitars and amplifiers and guitar straps and pedals and radio stations. There's historical groups. There's an auction house that's going to auction off a guitar that was played by George Harrison and Eric Clapton this time. So it's a very famous guitar. It has a lot of history. So there's a lot of stuff that you have to do to plan your whole 3 days and what you're going to do and when you're going to do it. And there's a whole lot of gear preparation, because in this case I take roughly 4 cameras, all my equipment that I need, lenses, food food, air, rain gear, everything that you can possibly think of, because I'm inside and outside shooting in heat, rain, snow, cold, little bit of everything. So we'll cover that in the next couple weeks as preparation for the event with your gear. I hope that you enjoyed getting a little look-see into what goes on behind the scenes as a practicing working concert music photographer for a magazine. Like, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, confusions, man, please leave them in the comments. We appreciate them, and we'll answer what we can. If you haven't liked or subscribed and you found anything useful, please do. We appreciate it a lot. And we're going to continue this over the next couple weeks. And I appreciate you viewing. Thanks a lot, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.